Welcome to the Easton.Online podcast. I'm your host, Eliot Marshall. And what this podcast is here to do, it's here to help you gain strategies and tactics and tools that are going to help you grow in your martial arts business. If you have a martial arts school, a gym, this is one of my passions, is how we spread the message of how to really grow culture and business and some ways that we do it the best with our people, with our staff, with our clients. So I hope you enjoy. Give a listen. First, Easton.Online. Our first, it's a two-time first. Our first double guest, and our first Zoom recorded Easton.Online due to the coronavirus. Both are due to the coronavirus. Mike, what's up, man?
What's up, brother? Have you done Easton.Online post-Roni yet?
Have I done it? What?
Is this your first Easton.Online since the coronavirus?
Yeah, it's the first recorded one since the coronavirus.
Wow, look at that. So many firsts today.
So many firsts. You should. You're the man. So this is all we're going to talk about. We're going to talk about coronavirus and the things that we have done, seen success with, maybe done well, maybe done not so well, things that we'll learn for the next pandemic to tell our kids about, hopefully not, or I don't know. I think it's our great grandkids. It's every 100 years, right? These pandemics come.
100 years. But we can tell them every 10 years there's like a crash in the market. So we can talk about that maybe too.
Yeah, we have a lot to talk about. So first of all, what was it like from your perspective when we were deciding what to do? Is it 2 weeks ago now? Is it?
Yeah.
Okay,
I don't even know. Hourly, it changes so much hourly that it's hard to keep up with what happened an hour ago, because it's not like every hour is a turn of a page. It's like every hour is like a turn of a chapter, or like a new book we're opening. And I'm like, oh shit, now we got to start over.
And it's hard to keep the day straight, right? Like, because,
oh my God.
Right? Like, like the other day I woke up in the middle of the night and I like panicked a little bit because I was like, whoa, where am I? What day is it? And I had no clue. I was like, what did I do yesterday? I was like, well, I stayed at home. What did I do the day before? Fuck, I stayed at home. Like.
My life, I work from home quite often, and then I drive around to the schools. My wife is at home with the kids a lot. So we're home with each other a lot. So not that much has changed. I did notice today, like I went to change my kid's diaper and I'm like, why are these straps broken? And I realized I had the diaper on backward, like reversed, like, so the outside was on his butt and I couldn't get it to connect. I was like, okay, I need to take a walk. And I'll go back to your question in a second.
Yeah.
But like with the stimulus package, right? Like everything we've been planning is almost, there's still stuff there we need to use, but it like takes all that planning and like, okay, let's not get too involved in that. So I guess what I would say is kind of goes back to what we've been working on these past couple of years, is that every time new information comes up, we can just move on and pivot. Like what we've gotten very good at Easton is like communication. Like when we first had to have our meeting, we told everybody it was going to be in like 30 minutes and every single person was on the call. All the general managers, all the leadership team, all the admin people. There was like 30 people on the call, no problem within 10, 30 minutes. Because
and shit, you even got me in them all.
Yeah, everybody's like, God, what do we need? We're so aligned and like we all have like such strong roles that we know exactly where we need to go. The communication is so clearly defined within the organization that when we need something, it's boom. And then when something changes, boom, we pivot so quickly. And I thought that was so powerful in the first couple of days of this whole thing. Like, oh, that was wrong. Let's do another thing. And everybody was super like willing to pivot on the spot, where a couple of years ago, 3 years ago, it would have been very difficult to even have just a phone call.
Let alone talk about and look, we even disagreed sometimes, like me, you, and them all, like in the process of closing the school, right? Like, when are we going to do it? What are we going to do? How's this going to go? Are we like, it was chaos for us a little bit, just the three of us, because it was the three of us dealing with it. And then we would just get on the phone and like, just talk it out really nicely. And I think that is one of the best things that we've been able to do is this communication piece, right? Like,
yeah. As a business owner, like you and Amal as the majority shareholders, like something I've been dealing with a lot with people that have one business partner or are by themselves. They're like, what do I do? And they talk to their friends. and they have no tiebreaker. Or if it's just two people, they have no tiebreaker. And I've been like, man, like I'm not a majority shareholder in this company, but I can break ties, which is super helpful for the three of us, because usually one of us needs to make the decision and choose the direction. And we don't spend much time making a lot of business decisions the past few years. Like I handle like the day to day, and then what's a big thing, we talk about it. But this was every day, every hour, having to make a new decision, and having a group of three was so fucking powerful. So I think about when companies have like a board, they have like one person extra on the board to make sure ties can be broken, so you don't get stuck in this tailspin of like mad at one.
So you can never have an even vote. Right?
Yes.
So you can never have an even vote. You have to be able to break the tie. And man, I think Amal said it. He sent out a Voxer to you and I, where it was like, yo, man, like people ask me what it's like to have business partners during this. He's like, I couldn't imagine without, because having to make these crazy decisions by myself, holy shit, that would have sucked. And I agree, right? Like, you've been wrong. I've been wrong. He's been wrong. We've all been right. We've all agreed. We've all disagreed. But all of it resting on your shoulders, that would be a lot.
Yeah, and you don't know if you're right. At least like if you fuck up, you like have two people to like, okay, we collectively agree to do this.
We did this together.
There's no I told you so that happens. Right. You know what I mean? It's like we got outvoted and we have to go in that direction. And so I guess for advice to business, to people that have their own Easton or their own jiu-jitsu schools, like find your board. Like they don't have to be paid. Like find two people that you can rely on. That if you're like an individual partner, or if you're two people, like find a third person that really believes in you, that isn't like financial. Maybe it is financial, I don't know. But somebody that can help you through this is really important.
I think they have to be in the business though, right? It can't be like a homie. If there's two of you.
Yeah, no.
Right? It's got to be someone. This greatly affects you. What we do, our decisions, right? Like it can't be like your neighbor across the street who's going to put 5 minutes into your conversation.
Yeah, no, I think it should be somebody probably in your organization that you trust to help you make the decision. That's part of that understands.
Yeah, for sure.
Now I think about like Cody and Christian, right? It's been difficult for them for high altitude, because like there's only two of them. So having a third person to break that tie would be helpful, or just an extra piece of input to sway one way or another.
Sure, things have been more difficult for them because they've been 50-50 and they don't have it set up for that third person, where I think moving forward, they probably will. That way the tie can always be broken.
It makes it quicker, right? Yeah. Like I know we're sticking on this, but the emphasis on this has been so powerful because we were able to make decisions so quickly. Like how many things did we come up with right away? And we're like, cool, that's what we're doing. We collectively move forward.
Right.
And getting comfortable disagreeing.
And then there was nobody knew what our vote was. Like nobody of the three of us, right? Like nobody knew who voted where. And then whoever, whether we agreed or whether there was one dissent, it didn't matter. That dissent went away once we had the agreement. And there was no let's say I was the dissent. I didn't call somebody and be like, yo, man, I can't believe these guys are doing this. And then create this divide. Once the agreement was made, once the vote took place of what the direction, we all agreed at that point. That's so important.
So this is a good example. I do think it is important to have somebody outside the organization just to vent to, but that has no decision power, just so you can get it off your chest, but keep it away from the others in the organization, and it stays within the ownership, the leadership, our team. And a couple of key things here I think are important to point out is that when we made the decision, we had roles too. Like yours was to notify the membership base. You're our front man who will know your face. You handle all the teaching. And you went out there and you did an incredible job explaining what we're doing next, the next steps. And then my job was to talk to the operations team, the general managers, and help them relay the message to their staff. And we just went, did our thing, came back at the end of it and worked on a new plan, how to do this next. And I know the general managers and leadership team felt very comfortable and confident with what I was giving to them because they trusted all of us, which is what we had to build over many years. We couldn't have done that 2 years ago. They'd been like, fuck this guy.
It would have been hard. It would have been very, very hard if we hadn't done the steps of building the core value of unity, right? Unity. 7 schools are one school. and what we all do is what we're all doing. What one does is what we're all doing.
Exactly.
And then the piece of what you were just talking about of you and I, like you were handling the employees and I was handling the members, right? But the message was the same. Like it wasn't like I did anything or you did anything or said anything that wasn't the same. So that when the member would then call the school or the GM, everybody knew that everyone was in line.
Yeah. And I'm sure there was like some whole, we have an organization of 250 people that work for us in some way and 150 paid staff, and not all full-time obviously, but like to be able to get the message clearly through the levels of organization, like with that whole structure, like make sure you talk to these individuals and pass it down. I think it did a phenomenal job. And man, I have to say, like the general managers, oh my goodness, them and their AODs just blew it out of the water, like how committed they were to making sure everything was clearly passed down. I'm so impressed with how each of them managed their own ship.
And the first talk was like, yo, we don't know what the money looks like.
Yeah.
Right. That was in there right away. So this wasn't like, oh, they're doing this because it's their job, or right. Like they were doing this for, sure, hopefully to have a job in the future,
Mm-hmm.
But that wasn't, nothing's guaranteed. They have no clue what our finances look like. They, like everyone assumes you're rich, but like, because they just do basic math, right? They go, oh, 1,000 students times 200 loaded, so, but nobody knows.
Yeah.
So that was a piece we had to navigate. How do you feel like what did we do to navigate that in your opinion?
Well, with the general man, I'm gonna be honest, man, like I talked to the GMs and the AODs and a good amount of the department heads.
Let's clarify AOD real fast.
Oh, AODs, if you have a school of 500 or more, you have an AOD. It's an Academy Operations Director. And what they do is they're the right-hand person of the general manager. GM handles the people. AOD handles all the admin stuff. So the GM can concentrate more on people, and the admin handles like cancel suspensions, events, eternal events, all the admin stuff that has to get done, and they help balance out the general manager really well. At a smaller school, it'd just be the DFI, the Director of First Impressions, the person that runs the front desk, that works directly with the GM.
So if you don't have a school big enough for an AOD, right, you'd have a DFI. So whoever was the head of your front desk, that's the person you would use for the communications.
Mm-hmm. And at a smaller school, like 100 people, you'll probably have like a person that runs the kids department, and that kid would kind of help balance out some stuff for you as well. Like he'd throw his hat in for some decisions or help, as well as the people that work front desk. If nobody's running front desk yet, you'd have like one person on there that you'd probably think is going to be the DFI, and they would help you with those decisions also. People you'll immediately, it's like in the jiu-jitsu or Muay Thai class, you immediately see who the ones are that are totally invested. And before you're promoting them, you're like, I need to pour into this person a little bit.
Right. Okay, so go ahead. How do we talk about the finances? Sorry.
Oh, well, so with that team, like at each school, the AODs and the GMs know they get the P&L. They know what the finances look like as far as what their payroll looks like. They know what their expenses are. So they know that we operate on margins that, even if we saved for like really a lot of money, it'd still be hard to remain operational for multiple months. And that's a big part of the struggle with having a goal of 100 schools, right? Like that goal, because when you're on a growth trajectory, you're trying to reinvest your money in the business constantly so you can continue to create careers for individuals. But then when a pandemic hits, your coffers are not really ready to pick up the pieces, because you're trying to take all that money and open schools so you can have a career for people like Jordan Shipman, for people like whoever's next in line, right? Chris Mierzwiak, Junior Fidelis,
So everyone always says 6 months of full expenses. You always hear this, right? Well, our full expenses are roughly $450,000 to $500,000 a month for all the schools. Yeah. With payroll, right? With payroll. So operating with $3 million, just chilling, nothing, like you don't have it. I don't have it. Right.
I don't have it. I pulled out a HELOC to pay for my bills for the next few months.
Yeah, Amal doesn't have it. None of us. Like, we don't have three, like, so yeah, it got real fast for us, because you're like, whoa, right? Like, holy shit, because we don't have $3 million.
Yeah.
Hanging out, we're saying, right? Not like in like equity in our house or something like that where you have to take loans out, just hanging out. So that like we got real scared real fast.
Things were looking great, right? When the economy's great, it's amazing. I immediately, the day after we closed, I went and sold my 2 cars and gotten downgraded significantly. I got a van with 100,000 miles on it and another car. And I was like, okay, we got to start pitching pennies so we can survive through this. And I think that's what we did for Easton as well. Like, we had, okay, what is our ultimate goal? And I'll tell a story about Shackleton a little bit in a bit, but our ultimate goal was like, we have to make sure that Easton exists and is around when this all passes. And what do we do to make sure that happens? Like, well, we have to pay our minimum bills, right? And that looks like negotiating our rents, cutting out all reoccurring revenue, all recurring expenses, see who's still willing to help support us, kind of treating us like their favorite nonprofit during this time.
So that was a huge thing right there, what you just said. We had to sit down, first of all, right, and figure out what we had to remove payroll and say, what are our minimum expenses? What are the bills that just have to get paid? And we found that number. I think that was an important exercise. Right. Yeah. What were the numbers? We took payroll out. We had one with payroll, a full payroll, a modified payroll, and then no payroll whatsoever. And we knew what those numbers were. That was a good exercise, I think.
Yeah, it was just, we're not actually gonna nail it, but like going through the exercises, it's like it was like going through like your match in your head before you compete, right? It just goes a long way to like, okay, we have a really good a finger on the pulse for this. So the first step was like getting that number down. And then the next step was like getting the GMs together. I'm like, okay, all your credit cards, here's the plan. Everything's getting removed. Everything you negotiate, renegotiate. So removing all stuff. Also canceling trash. We stopped cleaning once we closed the doors. We canceled, except for Denver, who was still doing stuff. I should probably talk to them about that. But like making sure everything was paused so we can retain the cash so we can open back up. And then we got that to the minimum, which again, having your organization clearly outlined with clear communication and jobs, it made it so easy. They got on it right away. It was just like hitting a button and the crew went and took care of it. It was amazing. So then then the next step was payroll, right? Like, how do we go down to essential staff so we have enough to remain open? And we paid everybody their full salaries through March that was on the list. And that was good. But the thing is, everything changed. We had all these plans, and now the stimulus package is here. So even the plans we put together are now like, okay,
right. We'll get there. We'll get to now. we're at 2 weeks ago. Right?
Yeah.
So then, so we took care of that, and then, man, the question of the members and paying, right? This was so. We went back and forth, like all these different scenarios, and should we do this and should we do that, and that was a difficult decision on how to approach this subject.
Yeah, and luckily we have a lot of good people we can talk to that help, like other school owners, other people in different industries. And the message that we received the most of was like, to be honest, like retain as much as you can now. Don't promise you're going to pay it back later because you don't know what later looks like. Right. So a big theme during the beginning of COVID was, yeah, we'll make your payments up and discounts over the next year. But man, if we only come back with 30% of our members and we're making all those payments to people, that could also bankrupt us.
Right. Let's explain that a little bit. Let's break that down, because that's what you saw all over the board. Right. Was I will pay this money, like from school owners. You keep paying and I will pay it back. You have to think about that. Right. That's just a snap decision. It makes sense. Like on the top of your head, it makes sense. Right. But just think about it. If you had 100 members paying, right. And at the end of this, what you were saying was, now at the end of COVID, right. Let's say it lasts 6 months, and now you only have 30 members paying. Now you're at a third of your bills. You're at 30% of your bills. What you are operating at, your rent, your all of these other things. If you paid all those people back, or let's say now all 100 people came back and you have to pay out 70% of your monthly nut, you're not gonna be open.
Mm-hmm. I had talked to two very bright, kind of executives that train with us. Just,
Right.
A lot of people hit us up to help us up. That's the beauty of jiu-jitsu and Muay Thai. Like, it makes us all equal on the mat, and then outside in the world, like, oh, I can help with this. You're like, what do you do? Like,
What do you do?
I run this company. I'm like, whoa. And they've been there a million times. And a lot of those people were saying, like, you have to protect future cash flow. You've got to protect your future cash. You have to, because you don't know where this ends up.
Right. You have no clue. 1 month. Okay. We'd all be fine if it were 1 month, right? Like, and that's what everyone was assuming at first. I will be closed for a month. I'll pay you all back somehow. What's it going to be? I have 150 students. Let's just make it easy numbers, $100, right? Like, 15 grand, you'll spread that out and you'll be fine. Yeah. Well, what if it turned into 6 months and it was 100 grand you had to pay back?
Mm-hmm. And man, back to, we're good with the GM trust. We've also done a really good job with our culture, and the students they don't trust me, they don't know me, but they trust the GMs, they trust their teachers. And because their teachers are saying, and they see what we do, man, we make it right. Like, if we fuck something up, like, how many times do we give people, if somebody says finances for the reason for canceling, right? We have our immediate response is, cool, how can we help you out for a few months? Free payments, 3 months, no problem. Whatever it is, that is an immediate, like, we're going to take care of you, always, with everybody. So people see that. We've been good to them. They're being good back to us. They're paying it forward.
We don't let people cancel because of finances, just in general. No. Right? So if somebody says, hey, I can't afford it, our answer isn't like, oh, man, okay. So we're talking now just the culture of the school again here, which is, such a huge piece of this whole thing, right? It's such a huge piece, because if you call us and you say, hey, look, my wife is sick and I can't afford blah, 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 then we're like, all right, sweet, you're going to not pay, right? And then we don't ask it back from them, right?
No.
We don't say, okay, you'll make this up later. They're just, when they can, they're paying. And we don't ask, like, okay, you're going to clean or you're going to this in trade. We don't do any of that,
That's a different story. That's like somebody like me when I started, and you when you started, like, hey, I can't afford this. Cool. Here's your job until further study, right? Don't screw it up.
Amal made fun of me the other day. I sent him a picture of my kids cleaning the toilets. And he goes, man, they better learn how to do that, because that changed their life. The ability to clean a toilet changed their life, because I used to have to clean toilets for the tuition. And he's like, look what those fuckers have now, because you knew how to clean a toilet.
Oh man, that's something I didn't realize about having a kid, like how often they miss. It's like, I was like, oh, dude.
That's something you don't realize about having a kid until they can pee and you cancel the cleaning ladies, right? Because when you cancel the cleaning ladies, you're all of a sudden cleaning the toilet. Like I know we did, Simon, because my kids have done it since we canceled the cleaning ladies. I've had to stand there and help them. Simon's like, Dad, there's pee all over the toilet. I'm like, well, it's not my fault, dude. I'm not missing.
Yeah. We had cleaning ladies for 2 weeks. We were like, sweet, things are doing well. Like, we're excited for the business. Like, I was like going to start having like a really great, I've been great, but it was like this year, 2020 was looking good, because that's the first time I've been an owner of like multiple locations. I'm like, all right, we got my wife a new car. I'm gonna get a cleaning lady. Stoked about this. I've been doing this for 12 years. And like 2 weeks in, the coronavirus happens. And I was like, okay, let's sell the cars. We're canceling the cleaning service. It was pretty funny.
I've never eaten so many leftovers in my life. Like, nothing's allowed to go to waste.
I hope people understand, like, man, I'm 37, you're almost 40. Like, this was a pretty exciting time for both of us in our lives. Like, things are going well, but we worked hard to get here. And I think that's important to know, that when we say these things and make light of them, we definitely appreciate them significantly. And that's another reason why Easton.Online, I think, is a really big thing, because you can do incredible things for your community and help get careers to people and elevate them as well. So these things we make light of and joke about, we do appreciate, and it's been pretty powerful. So it's in this moment, it's like, whoa, okay, time to rally. And man, it's still awesome. Like it's all just been a pretty incredible experience.
Yeah, I'm not complaining about it. I haven't had one complaint about like, I don't know, like about the corona. I mean, okay, so coronavirus sucks. Let's just be clear. Like this is shitty, right? I'm not happy about it or anything, but it's been a great experience of learning how to. I'm doing the videos, like putting out all the videos. Like I've learned a lot of fucking jujitsu from Alex. We've learned how to live stream. We've had to shift, and because we've wanted to make these curriculum videos, and now we're doing it. Now we're rocking and rolling. You know, we have weeks worth of content. You know, and we're gonna film every day we can so that we have content. Is it going to be good content? Probably not. Like in a year, we're going to look back at it and be like, oh my God, that was not the most skillful way to do it. But it made us start. It made us switch.
It's a good time to get into Stoicism, Buddhism, whatever it is your religion is. Like it helps you a little bit in these times. Like, oh, here's your chance to actually practice that in this moment.
Yeah, not just talk about it, right?
Yeah, it's like, man, I remember when I'm like, all right, get my like 5 readings I do just to make sure I'm on point. Like, okay, got to make sure I'm doing my best and enjoying the moment. We should talk about the videos. I wanted to tell us something really quickly. What I've been doing, since my job is like usually making decisions and then, working with the GMs, but like a lot of the stuff that I do has been frozen. But it's my job is just shifted. I'm still doing this. It's still like a lot of communication. So like I cleaned all the gutters on my house, right? And it's a ranch, so it's a lot of gutters. And I just made phone calls the whole time to staff. And then yesterday I did the garage and I made phone calls to staff. And then I went for a car ride and called staff. And it's literally just making sure I'm connecting. This is what we should talk about for a minute. It goes along with the videos. Connection, communication, and engagement has been the big philosophy going down. Like as we make the decision, that's one thing. Like here's the decision. This is what people need to know. And then it's, okay, how do the staff and like you engage and communicate with the community? And then for me, it's like, how do the GMs and staff communicate with each other, right? So it's been constant, like every type of platform for engagement you can think of, like from group meet to Zoom calls to house party, which is great, on and so on and so forth, live streaming, and we're going to keep getting better at it. So people they miss us, they miss the culture, they miss the community, and we miss them. And this constant engagement has been really powerful.
And just your phone. Like I know I've been working out a ton, you know, I can't do it when I'm on my Peloton because I'm dying. But when I'm in my garage, like I put my headphones in and I just call the staff. I just call people. Hey man, how you doing?
Yeah.
You know, like what, you know, you doing, like, what have you been up to? And like when I know, I'm sure for you, it's been the same thing. And maybe they're ready to talk to you, but sometimes when I talk to people that are like, whoa, why is Eliot calling me? They're like, yo, man, I really appreciate that phone call. Yeah. Like that human connection, right? Like it goes so far, like the communication with people, it goes so far, farther than you could even imagine.
It's what's weird about it. And this is, I think Alex taught me this, is that sometimes before I make the call, I'm like nervous to call. I'm like, oh man, these people don't want to hear from me, or what if it goes poorly? And I'm scared. I'm like, and then I'm putting expectations around how the call should go. And as soon as I shut that off and just start dialing numbers, man, the calls are amazing. And I'm so happy to hear from all these individuals and to chat with them. And I know I know the GMs and leadership team are doing the same with their team, and the same with their students, and hopefully the students are doing it with each other. But this communication has been, I've talked to my parents and family more than I ever have in like 10 years since this has happened.
I talk to my mom and dad a lot, but yeah. My mom got mad at me yesterday.
Do you want to talk about why?
What's that?
We want to talk about why or no?
No, we're not going to talk. She got mad at me because I told her she wanted me to watch the news about the SBA loans, and I was like, I'm not watching politicized political news. And then I put an emoji on it, like a smiley face, and my mom just doesn't do well with texting, joking. So she's like, sounds like you're mad. I'll talk to you later. And I was like, no, Mom, that's why the tongue out emoji So I called her. I'm like, that's the point of the emoji, Mom. Like,
You gotta get on Marco Polo, bro, or Houseparty.
Yeah, she won't figure that out. My mom and dad can't pass the phone back and forth to each other without hanging it up. Like if my mom passes it to my dad, it's getting hung up.
Oh my god, that's like me passing it to my 3-year-old.
Exactly. So
I was gonna say something about this that has been really funny. Oh, you know the this is gonna be inappropriate, but I'll do my best to be vague.
okay.
The new international or the national symbol for coronavirus is that porn star Wood, that famous picture that's everywhere.
Oh,
You know,
the black
right?
guy. Yeah.
Yeah. So it's everywhere. Like you can't escape it.
Yeah. No.
It's inappropriate as hell. And it's been around for like 10 years, but it's on everything right now.
That dude's so famous as fuck. He's dead, but he's famous as fuck now.
But I sent it to my mom and my sisters and a few different of the memes. They didn't appreciate it. And I kept sending it.
Oh man, my mom would disown me. If I sent that to my mom, she would disown me.
Yeah, exactly. So it's like that. I just couldn't. So I'm like, why are you so sensitive? I want to poke one more time.
Right. All right. So back to it. I don't even know where we were. So, the loan. So yes. So our plan was we laid everyone off. Right.
Let me be clear about how we did that too. So
for sure.
We laid people off. This was like a 3-day process of how it's going to look. And what we did was some people we had to go through like the whole list of everything being subjective, right? Like that some of the people only did like a class a week or 2 classes a week and they didn't really make much money.
Explain how you went through the list. Good call. Sorry.
So we had to prioritize, right? And it was subjective and it was not easy. It still hurts, right? But everybody's understood. So if they had another job, that was their majority breadwinner, they got it, right? So they were cool, no problem. If their spouse was the main breadwinner in the house, they also said, okay, I get it. Because we're going to lay them off and they're still going to be able to collect unemployment. Whereas if we had to pay everybody, we couldn't afford that. So the next one was, hey, I have a savings. I can go move back in with my parents. People like that are younger that work for us a lot, but they're like, I can move my parents during this. We need to make sure people that are using this to survive can be taken care of. Some people may disagree with this, but we had to make a fucking decision and this is the way it went. The next step was interviewing every single general manager for like 20, 30 minutes about each individual that was left on there. And I had already built out who I thought was right, and I made my own list, didn't show it with them. And I had them give me their list, and every single person matched up. We were on the same page with where each person that needs to stay on payroll stayed. And then it was the decision, okay, well, if we lay this person off, will they make max unemployment benefits? Yes, they will. Okay, so that's going to be close to what they're already making. All right, boom. So then there's the next step is like the people that work full-time that need to be on working full-time behind the scenes to keep this place afloat. And we chopped it down from 150 people to about 21 people, and then even then we found this work share program that would say we pay 60% of that 21 person salary hours and 40% is covered by the government. And even then, like the general managers, me, Ian, and Valor, who've been around the longest, or not general managers, the main leadership team, we took a 75% pay cut as well. But that being said, we're probably going to take a complete pay cut depending on how it went. So we continue to pay people that needed the money. But it was just a constant back and forth and deciding, like prioritize and like triage what was necessary. And then we interview people like, hey man, how are you doing with your savings? Like, I'm good for a few months. Don't worry about me. I want you to pay this person. And people would throw their hat in for that. And then the last piece, which is important, and I don't know who's going to listen to this, but don't forget there's possibilities to make it up in bonuses in the future. Like if somebody like helps out, right? There's always ways to help them out in the future, some way, shape, or form, in this time of crisis. Like I'm going to bust my ass now, and I know they're going to take care of me in the future, or something along those lines. I'm going to stay vague with how that looks, but
man, we had a lot of that. Like because people, especially like Jordan, a lot of people were coming to me like, "Yo, I want to help with this online content stuff." And the first thing I said, I was like, "Whoa!" I was like, "I have to do all of it because I can't pay you." Right? Like this is extra work that you're doing. I have no money to pay you because if this lasts 6 months, 8 months, we're going to be dead broke if I pay you, zero. So they were like, don't care.
Don't care.
Don't care.
It's fucking, I love what Jiu-Jitsu and Muay Thai has given me. Like Mike Phipps that does Muay Thai. He's like, I'm in, whatever you need from me.
Yep.
And just stoked to help, even though it takes all these hours. Because, man, what we've always done well, I believe, in my opinion, is pay it forward. Like if somebody, like look at the Chris Mierzwiak example. Chris came from Zen Planner, making probably close to 6 figures, to come work for us for free. And he worked for us for free for like 3 months for nothing, and worked like 80 hours a week because he loved what we were doing. And I was like, man, we can't pay you. I don't know what you want from me. And he's like, I'll do it anyway. And then because he worked so hard and so diligently and showed such great results, like, all right, we got to find a way to take care of this person. And we did. And it just kept getting better and better for him. You know,
like, look, just pay him more. This school will profit less. Pay him more. Right?
Yeah.
You have to. You have to.
The work has to come before the money.
Right.
Like, man, when I, like, for example, people need to realize this. I think this all ties together. I remember when I was the GM of Boulder, I was like, Amal, what do you do that you hate? He's like, I hate doing payroll. I'm like, give it to me. He's like, I've never given up payroll my whole life. I'm like, I want to take it.
Right.
And I took over payroll and just kept saying, what else do you hate? And the work came, and then eventually the rewards come, because you got to put the work way ahead of any rewards. Like with parenting, you think it's fucking amazing waking up every few hours to feed your kid when they're a newborn and then change them all the time? No, but you take care of them now and they're going to prosper, hopefully, in the future, you know, barring any crazy illnesses or, you know, society. But like, you got to put in the work first.
The work always comes first. You don't get any of this without the work. You don't win the jiu-jitsu tournament first. You train first. You don't
win that fucking Muay Thai fight. You suffer getting your ass kicked in sparring.
Yeah, you sit down and cry, right? And go, oh my God, what am I doing? This is dumb.
This shows us about fucking grit. Like going through all this with going through this or going through training camp for fights, going through jiu-jitsu camps for competitions. Like you're like, why am I doing this? This is awful, because you're not getting the results of the medal at the end of it. You may not even get the medal. You may just get your ass kicked.
Yeah.
And that may happen for a while. And you keep doing it, and that fucking resilience and grit, it pays off. I mean, I think every time, because if it doesn't pay off in monetary needs, you are going to grow so strong from that, like, rebuilding of yourself.
Dude, the dumb shit on my bike pays off. Like the interval on the bike pays off, because like it's what we're in. We're in a tough interval right now.
Yeah.
Right. We're in a tough interval, and my legs are tired, and I want to sit down, and my heart rate is high and elevated, and but okay, you know, all right, and then you just find this space for a breath, right? You just find this space for just one deep breath. All right. All right, that helped me get it together a little bit. And now you have a little
really
more.
Good about that. You used to be really good about explaining that when I was a blue belt and white belt coming up. You're like, man, your brain's going to break first. Your body can keep going. Like, fucking tell that brain to shut the fuck up. I don't know what you said exactly, but that stuck with me forever. I mean, it still does. Like, let it break. Your body can keep going. Like, we can run 100 fucking miles, right? Like, there's something incredible in us.
We all can. That's the thing. Like we all can. It's not only the super crazy that can do it. You could go walk. Every single one of us that's a healthy, okay, let's be clear, healthy, right? Like you could go get this done. You know, your brain will say no. Your body won't. And then your body will shut down because your brain, you know. But something my therapist told me, because I was stuck in it with my concussion. Like a month ago, I was stuck in it, right? Like it came and like I couldn't cognitively focus. Like I was all over the place, and that sent me down the rails a little bit. And she told me, and it really worked. Like, and my thing is I have trouble sleeping, right? And then I call all you guys and yada, yada.
Yeah.
You know? So I spent 2 nights doing that. And last time this happened to me, I spent like a month every night doing that with you guys. Right?
Yeah. You didn't even call me this time. You called, you had a new friend there for you this time.
Yeah. Well, don't worry, you were still there, bro, but you just had a newborn, so I couldn't do like I was like I'm saving Mike in my back pocket, man. Like
I appreciate that.
Yeah,
I was waiting for the call. I was like,
I know. No, I had you in my back pocket, but you were in the weeds yourself, you know? But this time, like, I went to my therapist on the second day, and she told me to take it. She gave me something to do. She said, I just want you to lay there and breathe and repeat to yourself, I am okay. Because in this very moment, in this one, I actually am okay. There's nothing wrong with me. Yeah. Everything's this panic about what's coming, you know? So that helped. And that, dude, that put me to sleep. Like I went in my kids' room. I had a mattress pulled out in my kids' room because they gave me comfort. And I laid down on it, you know, and I just repeated to myself, I am okay. I am okay. I am okay. And then the next thing I knew, it was 4 hours later. And I was like, oh, fuck yeah. You know, and then I walked back to a bigger bed and I slept more. But that's what we're trying to tell everyone here too, that right now you are okay. And if you tell yourselves that, right, like in the moment, you're alive, you're breathing, therefore you're okay. So now we have a clear head to make some decisions.
That's brilliant, right? That's the nebulous. The idea of the future being so unknown is scary, right? Or it can be if you keep dwelling on it. But what the fuck is the point of dwelling on it? Like gain knowledge, gain all the information you can, like back to reading, right? Reading in the morning, doing your practices. This gets you clear with everything you can possibly have clear right now so you can make the best decision for the next steps. And then new information comes and you pivot and life goes on. So you know what I mean? You just fucking move forward. You stop getting armbar over and over again from the same spot.
The armbar is not different.
No.
It's the same fucking armbar.
You get liver kicked one time, you're going to start getting better protecting that area. You know what I mean? Like, you just get better at it, man. And if you don't, there's something wrong.
You're not doing the behind the scenes work, right? Yeah. So make sure you're doing the behind the scenes work. And I think we've all, one of the things that we've all been really good about with each other, and part of that has been this communication piece. Let's not act like we haven't, all of us probably a little bit, haven't had our moments during this, right? Yeah. We've all had our moments, but our communication is to the level where we know what to do when we have our moments. We don't sit in our moment by ourselves.
Yeah.
Right? How many people have you talked to? How many people have I talked to that needed to have a moment on the phone with us?
Yeah.
Right? And that was what, and I maybe, and you did, and I did, and Ian did, and you know, and we just sit through the moment, and then the moment, you know, that you
don't need to say anything.
Yeah,
you can just listen. I'm probably the worst one at this, but like when somebody calls, I can listen at least. I don't have advice. I'm not as smart as Ian or Alex, right? I don't know how to respond in like an empathetic way as well, but I'm happy to listen. I do give a shit. You know, and that's what matters. They want somebody to care and not judge them for being in that moment when this happens.
Even go ahead, sorry.
No, I just try to go for walks and then call, you know, whoever it is.
Even our higher level people, I'm saying, right? Like some of our GMs, and we've had to talk to them, you know, because it's fucking scary, man. It's fucking scary. The unknown is a motherfucker.
Yeah.
You know, and that's where we are. You know, that's where we are.
So this is the story I kind of want to talk about. I'm going to talk about today in the all hands. I'm doing an all hands with the entire staff. We sent out a survey monkey last night to all the staff with any questions they may have. And I'm going to do a live stream with Ian and Valor and just answer their questions. And then we'll probably field more during that. But there's, you know, the story of like Shackleton, the endurance, the incredible journey of Shackleton.
No.
It's about the guy that went to, what was it, the Wendell Sea? Anyway, they got stranded on ice for like a year. Like adrift on ice for a year, 28 men in the early 1900s. And what's amazing about this, like it was absolute misery. They were sitting in a boat with 28 men in the early 1900s, cut off from all communication, just stuck on ice. It actually took 2 years to get everybody back, but a year on ice and just miserable cold. Like we're talking like, you know, north near the Drake Sea or the Drake Passage. Probably not ready to be sitting there for that long. I mean, they bitter cold, wet, and then all those people. Imagine being you're having a tough time with your spouse or roommate in the house right now for a few days. You're talking about a year on a boat with 28 of these of the same people, right? And what's fucking amazing about what this about endurance, it's one of the best leadership books ever, is that he brought everybody back. It took 2 years, and a year in, he got his boats together and went through freezing cold waters, landed, climbed these mountains to a whaling town, and they didn't recognize them. They thought there were monsters coming. The whaling town thought there were monsters coming out of the mountains, because nobody lived in those mountains.
Sure.
And finally, he chartered a boat, went back, and landed on the other side of where his ship was left. And then he took 2 men with him, and they climbed these mountains and passes, and he collected the rest of his men. And it took 2 full years, and brought everyone back alive, every single person. No deaths, no murders, starvation, everything. And he kept them all aligned, and realizing that everything's going to be okay. We'll make it work. We're going to find solutions to these problems. And his book and his story of like resilience and fucking grit. Like reading this book, you're sitting there like I was like shaking during some of the cold parts because it seemed so miserable. Like how
it's called Endurance.
Yeah, Endurance. Sean Sims gave it to Ian Lieberman like 12 years ago, 10 years ago, and then I read it. I think I saw it on Ian's nightstand one day when I was at his house, and I read it a few years ago. It's incredible, and it's a very poignant book for this time. So when I talked to the general managers, I was like, man, each of you have your own crew. Right. And like Shackleton was just human, just like everybody else. Like he was great, but just like him, when in these moments of like fear and scarcity and like, what the fuck am I going to do? This is all going to fall apart. I'm like, oh shit, that motherfucker was human too. And he found a way to make it work. Right. And this is that like Carol Dweck growth mindset stuff. Like if he found a way, we can figure out a way. Not all is not lost. Let's figure it out.
Because he's not special.
He's not special, man. Nobody's fucking special.
Yeah. He's not special. So every single one of us can do it. So if I think like, right, all of us, everyone that's going to be listening to this has a school, right? And they have people probably looking at them, for answers right now. And just for some consistency, right? Just for some
positivity, consistency, some belief. Man, I fucking believe in my heart we're going to come out of this stronger than we ever were.
Oh, I'm not even questioning it.
Right? Like
I'm not even questioning it,
And the stimulus package makes a big difference.
Yeah, no, for sure. That eased it. That eased it. But I have to say, when the stimulus, it's not even passed yet. And 2, I wasn't questioning it then either.
No, me neither.
Because I knew that we know what we're doing. Denver and Boulder. Then we would just build it again.
Mm-hmm.
Right? We would just do it again, and we would do the exact same things. We would do it so much faster. We would do it so much better. But it's not like I would go change jobs.
No.
I wouldn't. I'm not going to get a fucking any other job right now. I'm going, when this is all done, said, and over with, I'm going to do this again, even if it's the apocalypse.
The way I described it to the GMs, which I just remembered, which I kind of thought was helpful, at least for me, was like, listen, we have this boat, right? And we have this ship. You each have your own ship. And it has all these holes in it, and it can only handle a couple people on the ship right now. So what you need to do is put your men on life rafts and tether them to the ship and feed them. You're going to fix that hole. And as soon as the hole's fixed, you're going to pull them back aboard. But if they stay on the ship with you, everybody's going to go down. Right now, you're the most experienced and skilled person to drive this ship. You're going to mend the holes, right? You're going to get through this, and then you can pull them all back aboard. You're not letting go of them. You're going to continue to help them in any way you can, whatever that looks like, communication, whatever, right? And then, boom, they come back aboard, and that ship's going to keep sailing into the sunset.
Let's give some people some ways to mend some ships with their students, right? Because you need to be communicating with your students and providing something for them.
Yeah.
This is simple. This is so simple. I don't care if you don't know how to video edit. Fuck it. Right? Literally, fuck it. Yeah, we learned how to video edit. Amazing. Right? And we have smart people. So we can live stream and put out all this content. You can figure all of that out, first of all. Second of all, get your phone and film something. Right? Film something.
Get a $10 tripod for your iPhone.
Yep. Put it, dude. Okay. You see this? It's my microphone stand. Every video I've filmed so far that's gone out to the students, I balanced my fucking phone on the goddamn stand and filmed it. Just a balance. So yeah, no, you You don't need anything. Just figure out a way to balance your phone, you know, and then put things out. Talk to them first of all and put out content. Show them, even if you are on the internet and you send them Keenan Cornelius's off of YouTube something, send it to them. Talk to them about it. Tell them what's going on and email it to them. Load it to YouTube. Super simple. Figure it out. And then copy link, paste, email everybody.
There's a million ways, right? So you want to make sure your staff are staying in touch, right? So there's apps out there like GroupMe, which is a great way to keep a constant thread going. There's Voxer to communicate verbally with your staff. There's the GroupMe is great for like all the advanced jiu-jitsu, right? Or all the advanced Muay Thai or the morning crew. There's a Slack, whatever it is, constantly talking about it, right? And then engaging, having them ask questions, being as transparent as you possibly know how to be. Having them reach out to whoever they can think of. Then there's the Zoom stuff like this. We're doing a lot of Zoom classes for kids, like live streaming classes. Yep. There's the Q&As. There's send some fights to the people, right, to a group and say, hey, we're doing a live stream on YouTube. We're going to watch this fight, and I'm going to commentate as it happens, right? I'll break it down for you. There's so many ways to engage. And just keep giving them resources during this time so they know you care. They know you're still staying engaged with them and that you're trying to give them everything you possibly can, right?
Even to your students that say, hey, look, I can't pay right now. You can't cut them out right now, right? You can't cut them out. They got to get everything too, right? They want to be a part of your community. But they can't, and that's cool. It's back to that work thing. It's time for you to do the work. Hopefully you'll get the reward later. But even if you don't, even if that student never comes back, but they're listening to whatever you're saying or doing, and that one thing gets your student through, or your old student, your ex-student that will never be a student again, gets them through today, well, then that was worth it. Right? That was worth it, because that's what we really say we're doing. We're saying, everyone goes, oh, jiu-jitsu saved my life, or jiu-jitsu changed my life. Yes, I agree with that, but it's not the jiu-jitsu itself. Right? Like learning how to do a fucking armbar, or learning how to do a Thai kick, followed by a hook, cross hook, it doesn't save your life.
Keep in mind, we're trying to always build raving fans.
Yeah.
Right? The students, the staff, the management, the vendors, we want to build raving fans.
The former students.
Former students.
Right. The former students, right? All of that, so that's super important.
I think on the membership piece, real quickly, we should touch on that. So again, we don't know what's happening, right? So it changes when we send out one blast to the students, like what we want to do. It changes the next time, right? We're like, oh, things change. So for example, we're currently at, listen, if you need to cancel, we just ask that you suspend. If you can still pay something, we'd be stoked. If not, no worries. We totally understand, but we definitely say that because we want to save the school. Like, we have to take care of the school. And if they say they can't pay anything, we're totally fine with that too. Like, we don't want them to pay if they can't pay. And that's it. And now that the stimulus package is coming out, we're going to have to pivot again on all those statements. We're just trying to figure out making the best decision with all the information we have, and then realizing, shit, we were wrong. We're going to change now. And just hoping everybody around us is adaptable and fluid as well.
Don't promise too much.
Yeah. That was
right? Don't promise too much. You keep it simple until you know something, right? Like, so we think the stimulus for example, we think the stimulus package is coming.
Yeah.
Right? That's what it looks like. And it looks like you'll be able to pay all of your staff and all of your expenses and with a grant and not have to pay it back. That's what it looks like. Well, guess what? We have not put that out yet because we do not know that, right?
It hasn't been signed into law.
It hasn't been signed into law, and we don't know that. So you can't start moving forward based on what you think is coming. Until you know something, shut up, right? Just say, we will inform you more. We will update you more. Yeah, because I've messed it up so much. Did you say I'm good at this? Is that what you said? Yeah, because I've blown it so many times by going, oh, we're going to do, and you're like, God damn, we're not doing that now, right? That is going to piss people off.
Yeah.
Right? Just be quiet. Positivity to your members. clarity to your members and your people, and only talk about what you actually know.
Yeah, for the all hands, a lot of the questions, not a lot, they want to talk about the stimulus package. I'm like, listen, we're not going to answer questions about that today. We don't know about any of it, but I'm happy to as soon as it happens. And I'll tell you this, we are applying for everything possible that comes out, and we are on it. That's all I know.
That's all I know. That's all I know is we are in line. We will be ready to go, right? When this happens. Like I called the bank, and then I jumped on this call. We are sitting and waiting,
Yep.
you know, and that's all you can do. You can't do anything else, right? It's a great point. Like the staff is going to, because everyone knows, all the staff knows about the stimulus package. Well, no, they don't. The House is debating the stimulus package right now.
Mm-hmm. And then it has to get signed, right?
And then it has to get signed. And then it actually has to happen.
Yeah.
So
sounds amazing so far.
Right. Sounds great. Sounds great. So, all right, man. I think that was good.
My brother, thanks for the time. I really appreciate it.
Thanks for the time. I appreciate it. Let me know if you need anything.
All right, man. Have a good day.
All right, later.